to introduce myself, I'm Landslide. I did the PCT in 2014 with my son, and I'm here to start these shows to interview folks like you and hikers, and just to get promote you and hikers and promote hiking in general. So welcome.
Exactly. That's awesome. That is awesome.
You know what?
So quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, quick rundown on me. Basically, you know, we live about 1.5 miles, 2 miles off of Scissors Crossing. So we've been out there for 18 years, and the time we've been out there, you know, we've given the hikers rides, you know, to and from Julian from Scissors Crossing, and then we started hosting I think about 5 or 6 years ago.
Did you ever happen to find a wallet in the back seat of your car in 2014? Because I lost mine on a ride to Scissors. So if you find it, that's me.
I'll tell you what, I'll keep an eye out for it.
All right, it had $100 in it. And I had to borrow some money from, what's her name? Hiker, not the people after you, the Dunsmores, yes it was? Is it them?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Totally.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, you're doing good work.
Yeah. So we started hosting, I think it'd been in 2017, 2018.
Okay.
The first kid was totally by happenstance. My wife's executive director up in Julian, the chamber. So this kid, he started his hike late. I think he hit Julian in mid-June, somewhere around there. So it was just god awful hot, and he was a train wreck. So he came by the chamber. My wife brought him home. We set him up. He hung out for, I think he was at the house for about 5-6 days, and just a absolutely amazing person. It was great sitting there talking to him after work. I'd get home from work, we'd go out by the pool, have a couple of beers, and just jaw jack for a couple hours. Completely different personality than myself. But you know, that's one of the big things about hosting, is that the people you meet, the conversations you have, and all the different perspectives from all the different places, just amazing.
So why was this kid out? Why did he start the hike and go do this adventure?
Well, he's like a bunch of hikers. He's out there trying to figure out what life's all about.
Yeah.
You know, so he was out there, you know, trying to find himself and figure out where he's going in life and all that good stuff. You know?
Did you ever follow up on him? Did he come to anything? Any realizations?
You know, we kept in contact with him for a while. He didn't last on trail very much longer past Scissors. I don't remember. But my wife kept in contact with him through Facebook. And I think it's been a while since we've heard from him. So yeah, so I'm not sure.
That's kind of what led me out there. Not that I was looking for, searching for anything, but it was for the adventure. But at the end of the hike, I saw the comparison between living in civilization, you could say, and living with nature, and that really made a big impact on me. And since then, I've made a few changes in my life. So just that 5 months out there on trail makes a huge difference to anybody.
Yeah. I can totally see that. Give you a different perspective. You know, so many people get caught up in life and wrapped around the axle. You know, you need to get out there and take some time out of mind and figure out what's real and what's not.
So have you been on trail for any length of time yourself?
You know what? We've never done it. I think the extent that we've hiked the trail, we took a drive up to Warner Springs and hiked out to Eagle Rock, and that was about it.
Okay.
So that was about 2 hours.
So you just kind of accidentally fell into being a trail angel.
Exactly. So that kid started it off, and then I was working in San Diego, coming home, and I picked up 3 kids one night, give them a ride down to Scissors, and I'm driving down Banner Grade, and leaned over to him like, you guys want 3 hots and a cot tonight, and get a shower and all that. And it was funny. The kids they're probably early 20s, and oh my God, they were tickled pink. Absolutely tickled pink. So
must be the gratitude that you receive back. Yeah, that keeps you going. I mean, I know
that is absolutely huge. The hikers have such a mentality about them. They're so appreciative of just the absolute little things.
Are you kidding? Yeah, it makes your day. I mean, running into you guys, this makes your whole day, everything.
Yes. So during hiker season, basically we make sure we've got, it's just simple stuff: hot dogs, macaroni and cheese, frozen pizza stocked up, Coors Light, Modelo, and just keep all that stuff flowing. And I tell you what, over the years we have had so much fun. I think the most people that we've hosted in one night was about 13. So we got a guest room, and then we've got a game room, and then we'll also set up our trailer so that they got somewhere to sleep.
So what's your protocol in picking them up? Where do you find them? At Scissors Crossing? What?
Yeah, actually, it's various places. Most of them we'll either pick them up hitchhiking out of Julian, or they'll come by the chamber office and they'll hit my wife up on looking for somewhere to camp or stay or whatever. Or pick them up off the side of the road, or they'll reach out to us through Facebook.
Okay, so you're on the Julian Trail Angels Facebook page.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I want to put a link to you up on the show here at the end so people can find you. Another way they can find you.
Right on. But yeah, I mean, we've had such an amazing time. I think 2019, I think, was the first year that we really started hosting a bunch of people. And I think we hosted probably 120 people in 2019.
You've seen an increase in the hikers?
The thing is, with 2020 and 2021 being so flipping weird, it's hard to gauge. It's super hard to gauge.
How is it this year? Because it must be the COVID sort of waning. So, is there more people?
I'm seeing a lot more people. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot more people who are hitting local hotels and Airbnbs and stuff instead of relying on the Angels. Seems like. So I saw more people on trail this year, but we didn't host near as many as we have in the past.
Okay.
So I think they're hitting Scissors Crossing. They're making arrangements for a local hotel or Airbnb.
The demographics, what is it? Women, men, old, young? What does that look like?
Over the years, I mean, it's been everything. Over the years, we've hosted everything from we had a group of kids who graduated high school in Texas on I want to say a Thursday, and they were on trail on Friday. They're 17, 18 years old. And then I think the oldest folks that we've hosted were 65, 67.
Yeah, I was 64 when I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, I had to wait till, I had the money and I was kind of semi-retired. So I had the big window to do it, because it's been my planning for many, many years. Ever since I saw that woman that crossed Australia with her couple of dogs, it was in National Geographic way back in the 70s or something like that. It went from east to west in Australia through the, no man's land. That kind of touched me, that kind of adventure. So it took me this long to do it. So now it's with me.
we hosted a girl from France, Cindy, who's just an amazing person. And she's a waitress in France at a high-end restaurant that's open, I guess, like 8 months a year, and then she spends the other 4 months of the year hiking.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, she is just, she's done PCT, the ACT. I think she's been down in South America. I mean, hiking is her thing. It's just awesome.
You can get addicted real easy. Watch it.
Yeah.
I was curious, do you have like angels have trail names like the hikers do? Do you guys pick up trail names or you just go by your regular?
I think most of them do. Me and my wife have not haven't adopted that yet.
Okay, well,
So,
usually usually you're baptized by somebody else. So
yeah.
maybe it took me a while to get my name. It took me Little Jimmy Campground after Mount Baden Paul when someone saw me fall again for the many times I had done it before, and I caused a little rock slide, down the hill as I fell.
Oh, that's funny.
So they called me one fellows who saw me fall before. That's how I got my name, landslide, and I caused this little rock slide. So yeah, maybe your time will come. Don't worry.
There you go. There you go. Too funny.
I just wondered about you must have heard some neat stories too from these hikers. Like do you have any favorite stories that you can relate?
Oh God, I mean, I could go on for days with the stories.
Just one, maybe
Uh,
just one, yeah.
yeah, yeah. We had a brother and sister from New Zealand that were on trail basically as a bonding thing in memory of their dad. They were amazing kids. We had with these three girls, Cindy that I mentioned previously, Matilda, and Abby. These three girls who were up in Julian too, and they were basically all out with foot injuries. They wound up staying at the house for about 2 weeks, and I mean, we just really bonded with them. They're really great kids. We still stay in contact with them through Facebook. But yeah, just amazing people. We're sitting in the house one night, and I think we had probably 12 or 13 people in the house. It was raining out, and we had a guy from Texas, Big Tex, and I'm sitting there talking to him. And in the house, we've got it's about a 900 square foot game room. So I'm sitting there talking to Tex at the kitchen table, and he looks out in the game room, and he goes, "Hey, Mark," he goes, "that room's big enough to throw a cornhole inside." So bigger than life would go out there, clear out an area, set up the cornhole boards, start playing cornhole, in the house. It's the whole experience is just a blast. So
Sorry, what's cornhole? I don't know what that.
so cornhole, it's a game that took off probably. It got real popular, I want to say, in the last 5-6 years. And you have it's a 2 foot by 4 foot plywood board with a hole in it, and then you just have each player has 4 bags that are filled with corn, and you
Yeah.
throw for points.
Yeah, I remember that from way back.
Yeah.
We do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it.
I mean, we just have such an absolutely good time. We had a couple from Michigan that was with us. They actually stayed with us while the brother and sister from New Zealand were there, and they stayed with us for a couple, 3-4 days. Got back on trail. They got up towards the Palmdale area, and Josh hurt his ankle, and they were going to have to basically stay on the trail for a week or two to let him recoup. So we found out about it on Saturday. We got up Sunday morning and drove up to Palmdale, picked them up, brought them back to the house, and they hung out with us for another 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and the relationships you make are just priceless.
They are. I remember. You remember Coppertone? You familiar with him? He was a trail angel. Coppertone.
No.
He's kind of retired, I think, but he was one of my memories, distinct memories as a trail angel, and he was first time I saw him was running up a hill naked. He had tennis shoes on, but he was naked, fully naked, and that's why they call him Copper Tone. He was fully tanned, and he used to go with his band and follow the herd and serve root beer floats. That was his thing, root beer floats. But on his, yeah, ice cream and root beer. It's very simple, but very delicious. And then he'd stop at, I met him about 3-4 times during the hike, and then he'd stop at certain places and he'd run up the mountains and the hills. He covered most of the hills or mountains on the trail, but he'd run naked. And he was a naturalist.
That's funny.
He was a
That is too
nudist. Yeah,
funny.
yeah. He's one of the unique trail angels I met that, and he had hiked it in early 2000s, and he just giving back, just like a lot of the hikers, they give back. And
Yeah.
so what you're doing is really cool that haven't even hiked it and you're giving back because you see.
Oh, it's super awesome. And one of the neat dynamics of it is, we'll see the northbound hikers, in May to, March to June. And then we'll see the southbounders in October, November, maybe as late as December. So when the folks stay at the house, we got a flag that says "Live a Great Story" on it. Take a picture of them. We post that, and then we basically send them off with a sticker that says "Live a Great Story" on it. And what's neat is we'll have southbounders who hit the house. They'll sign our guest book and they'll get their "Live a Great Story" sticker, and they'll realize that they hung out with people or cross paths with people who have the "Live a Great Story" sticker. So it's amazing, how many people run into each other and then wind up staying at the house, and go in that circle. So
I'll give Mango a heads up. He's southbounding July 14th. I just interviewed him. He'll be coming south starting July 14th. So Mango is his name. So I'll give him your info. Yeah.
outstanding.
What have you become more aware of, like in terms of human nature and just life in general and personalities, humans, etc., by meeting these people, these unusual people? They're usually kind of unusual characters, right? I find they're not normal to be out there.
I mean, it is the hiker mentality is definitely different. It's extremely refreshing, is the way I see it. I mean, when you bring these people into your house, and we have very, very few expectations or rules, and the amount of appreciation that they show for, like I said, for the simplest thing, for a hot dog, tater tots, and a couple of Coors Lights, and I mean they're just on top of the world. So their appreciation is just huge, and like I said, being able to sit down with people and just sit there and jaw jack and talk about where they're from or whatever, till all night long is just fantastic. The stories that we hear and just sharing with each other is amazing.
I think the camaraderie from like they don't care where you're from, what you've done. You could be an escaped convict. You could be somebody, doesn't matter what culture. Everybody's kind of on the same level because it's about survival. You eat, sleep, walk. You kind of take care of each other. I mean, most hikers are like that. They're very supportive of each other. And somebody ran out of water, they help them out. So I see it as like a kind of a template for how we could live.
Oh, it certainly is. It certainly is.
So how have you seen, in terms of like your own awareness? It seems like we talked about the gratitude that you receive back. I mean, how has it changed you? and your wife. She's involved too, right? Your wife?
Oh, yeah, my wife is huge into it. You know, she actually just completely mothers these kids when they come into the house. And yeah, I say kids, but it applies to whether you're 20 or whether you're 65. She's gonna mother you to death. Make sure that you have something to eat. You have somewhere to sleep, and you're all taken care of. I would, like I said, I wouldn't say that it's changed our perspective, because I think we're kind of molded to where we're at. But like I did say, it is very refreshing. It's a refreshing break to sit there and talk to somebody who appreciates the simple gestures in life, who's not looking for anything or expects anything. You know what I mean?
That's why we're down here. We're part of a nonprofit environmental group. We moved down to Baja because people down here live more simply. They're not like going after, the big fame or money. They're just very simple people. So, and there's less restrictions down here too. So we're doing environmental projects here, and that kind of was prompted by my hike too, like seeing nature and seeing what could be of our planet here and how beautiful it is, and why not keep it that way instead of poisoning and polluting it like we're doing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is also part of the contribution toward the planet. I mean, toward helping people kind of support their travels and their path in terms of why are they hiking. A lot of them like Wild, Cheryl Strayed. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that out there, that are trying to find something more meaningful in life that they could do. And one of the very hard things is coming back to civilization. That's
Oh, yeah.
harder than the hike for some people.
Yeah, with the southbounders, it's funny because there's definitely a different mentality. They're worn out. They're looking forward to the end of the trail, and some of them are like they're looking forward to the end of the trail, but they're also reluctant because it's the end of the trail.
Yeah. Oh, I cried. I cried at the end. I hit the monument in Canada, and then I had to hike back. I didn't have a passport, so I had to hike back to 30 miles to get a hitch. And the first couple I met, I hugged them and I broke down crying. I was just like so relieved. I don't know. It's just such a accomplishment, such a fulfillment. I could do it, and it's experience and never forget. I mean, you don't forget these things.
It is. Yeah, I can only imagine how rewarding it is to complete the entire trail. And one of the great things, with the groups of people that come through the house, we keep in contact with, I would say, most of them. My wife will connect with them on Facebook, and then watching them as they progress through the trail, and then to the ones who actually make it all the way. It's for us to sit back and watch them. I guess you could say we're living vicariously through them.
Very much. I'm going to name
Yeah.
off some hikers that I'm following. See if you met them. Walking Estonian,
No.
the field trip, the 3 or 4 boys and the mother walking.
No.
Which is really cool. I think it's like to have families out there. I mean, if I could do it again, I'd bring my whole family, but I did bring my son, which was really cool to have that going on with family. That's really bonding too.
Oh, I bet.
Sam and Mariah. How about who have you met that stands out? And are you following? Are you following any vlogs? You say, who are you following?
No. One of the guys who is huge in the hiker community that we are on Facebook with is Randy Rebo.
I don't know him. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll look him
I
up.
mean, he's constantly posting on there. Yeah, Sin discovers she's the girl from France who's always hiking.
She's on trail this year, you say?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know last year she got injured on trail, and I forget exactly where it was. My wife would know better. But yeah, she, like I said, she is always hiking somewhere. Um, yeah, I would say people who trying to think of hikers the hikers we've hosted who have gone on trail multiple times or multiple trails. Um, we hosted Lost Boy, who was, I know he's done PCT and the ACT. Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank. I'll tell you the truth.
So can you kind of go over what you, I know these like the Andersons, you're familiar with them, right? The Andersons who retired, but they were doing a long time. They were taking in people and they would have like tradition of tacos at night, pancakes, I think, in the morning, and then they'd have painting rocks. They'd have paint for the
Oh,
hikers.
you know what? I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe so.
yeah. They were in right after the Agua Dulce, and
Yeah.
was it I forget their names now. They're the ones that let me borrow $100, but not the Dunsmuirs, maybe. They're the ones where you clean up and you get trail, rides to REI and shower and everything, and then you go to the Andersons to party. That'd be the
Oh,
party
okay.
place, like a day's hike, and then the Andersons, you'd smoke weed and party. Which, by the way, when I was hiking, everybody was smoking weed. I don't know how their lungs would handle all this stuff, but everybody was on weed. I guess they still are, a lot of them. I don't know.
The popularity and the acceptance of it is just it's so commonplace now.
Yeah, I don't see how, and they'd party in the trail towns and drink beer and stuff, and then hike out the next day. I don't know. Like when you're young, I guess you could do that.
Exactly.
So what kind of deal do you have? You have the sticker thing? Do you have like kind of any kind of tradition that you're setting up for hikers
It's,
that stay with you?
yeah, so we've got the sticker thing and um, the journal that
Journal?
yeah. So we have ask them to at least sign or jot down something in the journal, and then I think it was in 2019 or 2020. My wife started asking them to basically uh, decorate or draw something on a patch for a quilt. So
Oh,
each hiker would have like an 8x8 square with whatever inspires them. And she's basically collecting these patches, and one of these days she'll put together a quilt out of it.
cool. That's
Yeah.
fun. Fun
So
stuff.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
memories.
Yeah, the journal thing is pretty awesome because every once in a while, we'll go into the guest room, grab the journal and flip through it and read through it and recant the whole time. So, like I said, it's just fantastic.
So how many hikers each year about are in the journal registered
Uh,
approximately?
uh, maybe 100 or so. I think since we started hosting, I think we're probably north of 350 though.
Wow.
Yeah.
You do you accept donations for the money you put out, all the food and everything, or how does that work?
Actually, we try to deter people from leaving money. So a lot of people want to leave money or whatever. The thing is that we enjoy it so much, and we're fortunate enough to be able to to do this for people and give them somewhere to stay and feed them, you know, without them, you know, bearing any cost for it. So it's, you know, it's like, why not? And the way we see it, you know, northbound, by the time they hit Scissors Crossing, they're anywhere from 4 to 8 days in. It's like, look, you've got another 5 months and, you know, 2,500 miles to go. But, you know, that 40 or 60 bucks it'll probably come in a lot more handy farther down the road.
No, that's
Yeah.
great. That's wonderful. You know, you guys are just doing something of a real service for humanity. It's really good.
It is. We just absolutely enjoy it.
In your own way, yeah, you found your niche, and some people can't find that, or they do something for some big organization or something that doesn't mean anything, you know, but you have meaning because these people are like we say, keep saying appreciative, and they really sincerely are grateful for what you do.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the memories, the experiences, the stories are just endless. You know, the in 2020, the night that they shut the state down from COVID was probably the weirdest night ever. So I think we had 13 or 14 people in the house, and you know, when COVID was taking off and all that stuff, and everybody was on edge, and you know, they finally announced that they were shutting the state down, and all the impacts to the hikers, especially the ones from out of the country, I mean, within 15 minutes, there was just this weird aura about the house, and I want to say out of the 13 people, I think half of them probably continued hiking. A quarter of them basically got into San Diego, left there and then the other quarter kind of tapered off and you know, ultimately wound up going back to where they're from. We had 2 girls from Switzerland who were just amazing. They wound up hanging out with us for I think a week. Ultimately, we took them into Temecula. They rented a car. They did some traveling around the United States and then headed back because they were just worried. It's like, yeah, they could stay on trail, they could stay in the United States, but then if they get hurt, if they run out of money, if anything happens, are they going to be able to get back into their home country? You know, it was just such a weird freaking time.
It's always something. Fires, yeah, injury. I mean, there's always challenges. It's not just a nice Sunday hike.
Yeah.
You got all these other factors, variables, and particulars that you have to factor in. So, yeah.
Adapt and overcome.
Anything else? I got to run here, but anything else you'd like to add before we leave here?
Well, I think I'm good. I appreciate your time.